Hello, and welcome back to another edition of TCS Student News. I'm Jacob, here with
Masadey. Let's get right into the news. On Monday, Trump stated that he wants to keep military troops in Iraq to spy on Iran. Are you wondering how this all started? Trump thinks Iran is looking to do nuclear weapons or other things that can be a threat to the U.S. He thinks Iran is a real problem. Trump is now making ties worse with Iraqi politicians. Iraqi politicians think this was a very unfair move of Trump, especially because he didn't ask for permission. Trump has admitted to keeping a base in Iraq only to keep watch on Iran. What does this mean for the U.S. citizens? We'll have to wait and see, folks.
in the next story, I'll be talking about global warming. Man-made climate change, also known as global warming, is caused by the burning of fossil fuels such as gas, coal, and oil, which release greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. This extra carbon dioxide and methane causes temperatures of the atmosphere and oceans to rise to levels that cannot be explained by natural causes. Today, I'm going to be talking about the effects of global warming on the Himalayan mountains. Global warming is predicted to melt massive Himalayan glaciers and disrupt food production in the surrounding countries. The Himalayas stretch across the northeastern portion of India. They cover approximately 1,500 miles and pass through the nations of India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Bhutan, and Nepal. After the polar ice caps, the Himalayas have the largest amount of glaciers on Earth. More than 30,000 square kilometers of the Himalayan region is covered by the glaciers that can provide around 8.6 million cubic meters of water every year. Antarctica and Greenland are not the only places being affected by climate change. The Himalayas are now in danger too. Two-thirds of the Himalayan glaciers will melt by 2080 if global warming continues. The result of the glaciers melting would disrupt the flow of rivers in southern Asia, which are a crucial resource for crops for billions of people in China, India, and 6 other surrounding countries. Water from the melting glacial ice could lead to floods along such major rivers as the Ganges and the Indus, potentially destroying crops. The Himalayan mountains are tens of millions of years old, and their glaciers are extremely sensitive to the changing climate. Since the 1970s, when we started seeing these effects from global warming, these huge masses of ice have steadily thinned.
Okay. Now let's talk about some issues here in America. In 2019, drugs are a huge deal in America. Senator Bernie Sanders thinks drug prices are too high and is concerned. More and more people die from not having proper medical treatment. Hospital deaths are the third leading cause of death. The main disease that people don't get more treatment for is Lambert-Eaton myasthenic syndrome, which weakens the body's muscles and affects about 1 in 100,000 people in the U.S. One healthcare company said its top priority is improving patient care for the disease. The disease normally takes place at age 60 years or older. I agree with Senator Bernie Sanders because prescription drugs are higher and higher each year. It might get to the point where we can barely afford prescription drugs to help care for the people around us.
Next, moving on to our next story. General Motors Company on Monday said it was starting to hand out pink slips to about 4,000 salaried workers in the latest round of reconstructing. In late November, GM announced that they will ultimately shrink its white-collar workforce in North America by 15% out of 54,000. GM is cutting hundreds of jobs at its information technology centers in Texas, Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan, and more than 1,000 jobs at Warren, Michigan Tech Center. GM is filling new required mass layoff notices with state agencies and disclosed the cuts to lawmakers. GM cut about 1,500 contract workers in December and said 23,000 salary workers accepted buyouts, officials said. General Motors said these actions are necessary to secure the future of our company, including preserving thousands of jobs in the U.S. and globally. We are taking action now while the overall economy and job market are strong, increasing the ability of impacted employees to continue to advance in their careers, should they choose to do so. General Motors spokesman Pat Morrissey said, adding to the bulk of the shortcuts should be completed in the next few weeks. Morrissey said GM would provide salaried workers with severance packages and job placement services. On top of that, GM is also cutting its exclusive ranks by 25%, and last week laid off 3 senior people in its Washington office, and some other small salary layoffs previously took place.
With that said, let's get into some TCS student news. I would like to thank Miss Rachel for the wonderful sandwiches last Friday. I would like to thank Miss Curl for the wonderful chicken pot pie. I would like to thank Miss Peg for the wonderful quesadillas. And finally, thank you, Miss Sandy, for the different trays of pasta. My class and I really appreciate all of you for supporting the school.
Thank you all for lunches. They're real good. Last Friday, Tom Montalone was our conversation with. Mr. Tom Montalone is an American science fiction author and horror fiction author. He explained to us how he gained interest in writing and how he got to where he is today in his writing career. He brought in some of his previous books and allowed the class to look at them. Mr. Tom Montalone was even kind enough to read one of his anthologies with us. And can I tell you, he can really read a story. I've got to say, I really enjoyed this conversation with. This conversation opened my eyes to the writing career. I really appreciate you coming in and speak with us. Thank you, Mr. Tom Montalone.
Thank you so much. Next, we would like to give some appreciation to Mr. Eduardo, our gym teacher. He plays a huge part in our school and helps a lot, but people don't really hear about him in the broadcast. Mr. Eduardo, I just want you to know that my class and I really appreciate you and what you do for us. I love the amazing activities we do and how you push us to our best ability. My personal favorite is tennis and basketball. Last Saturday was Marcus' 19th birthday. Mr. Tom took Marcus out to eat Saturday night. Happy birthday, Marcus. You're important to the school. I hope you and Mr. Tom had a great evening on your birthday.
Happy birthday, baby boo-boo. I hope you had a great birthday. Well, folks, with that said, that wraps up this week's edition of TCS Student News. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Masadey.
And we're signing out for this week, y'all.
Bye.